Hey, Sooner football fans. This is your Sooner Football Fans podcast. You got Terry and Rob here. Boomer Rob.
Boomer Terry.
And we are coming at you from the beautiful Podcast Palace in Norman, Oklahoma.
We are not affiliated with the University of Oklahoma.
But we do have eligibility left. And before we get started, as always, like, subscribe, wherever you're listening to. Make sure and subscribe to it so everyone make it easier for you to find us. Go check out tailgateconnect.com and find the Sooner tailgate at the UCLA game.
Dan the tailgater.
Dan the tailgate ninja.
Best job in the world.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, he's one of them.
Yeah, but he's got a big tailgate plan for the UCLA game. Cost is $40 for all you can eat and drink. Times and other stuff will be announced later.
Did you ever get your plane tickets?
Yes, I got my
Okay.
plane
Oh, yeah, you told me. You're going out the same day I am.
day before.
Day before.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a beach, what's it called? Beach shack, beach shandy, something like that.
VRBO type bed and breakfast thing?
An Airbnb.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
So, and also make sure and check out our videos on YouTube.
You can see my sexy face that way.
You can see Rob's sexy face if you'll ever show up again. But at Louis on Thursday nights, we're always there. They got great drink specials and food. Make sure you come by, and any time that you're there, tell them that we sent you, and they'll go, who?
Well, you got to point to the thing that's on the wall, or pictures up on the wall.
Yeah, you got to go point to our little picture in the corner.
We need to go and sign those so it looks official.
Oh, yeah. But here shortly, we will have Brooks Bell, a Sooner fan, on with us to talk a little bit of Sooner football. He's from right here in Norman. I don't know why I didn't ask him just to come over here. I didn't realize he was in Norman.
Think he's any relation to Blake Bell?
That's what I was planning on asking him about. So, but remember, we started a little deal, giving boomers out.
Yeah.
And we forgot to the last couple of times.
Oh, we did?
Yeah. And we've been getting, we told people, if you want to give a boomer out to somebody, just DM us on Twitter. And lo and behold,
somebody slid into your DMs?
Somebody slid into my DMs. But let's get some boomers from people out, that somebody said they want to give a boomer out to. The first boomer, so let's do our boomers. Boomer. Say boomer. From Cleo the Sooner Swooner. Now, if you don't follow Cleo or the Sooner Swooners, just call her Sooner Swooner on Twitter. She is an Alabama fan, and now she's a Sooner fan.
I think she tried to get a little sassy with me the other day. I had
Probably.
to shut her down. I know you're listening.
And she does listen to our podcast and a bunch of Oklahoma Sooner podcasts, and she's an avid listener to all of them and always comments on it. But she wants to give a big boomer out to all the Sooner fans on Twitter who have welcomed her to the Sooner family.
Right.
So,
right. Now, if you come at her, you need to know she is well prepared.
Yeah, she is well prepared. she will quote stats.
Come at me, bro.
So, but if you see her stuff, she's still a Bama fan.
Yeah.
She's probably going to be rooting for her Bama softball team on Thursday night.
She probably will be.
Yeah, which won't do any good because.
Listen, here's the thing: we hate Alabama only because they are outdoing us,
right,
to some degree.
Right.
But you still have to appreciate what's going on at Alabama.
Exactly.
Do you not? As a college football fan, you have to appreciate that. We don't like Nick Saban, but we'd love him if he was our coach.
Now, you don't like Nick Saban. Nick started to grow on me, so.
Nick's growing on you?
Yeah, a little bit. Mm-hmm. But she also has another boomer she wants to give out. She actually calls it an extra special Grande Supreme boomer.
Ooh. Does that got like a bow on it or something?
I guess. It's like a Taco Bell Grande boomer.
Okay.
To our good buddy,
Big Jim Dillingham?
Big Jim Dillingham.
All
right. She said he always goes out of his way to be nice, and he did it one time when she was getting some grief, and he came to her.
He's a good dude.
Offense, so a big boomer out to Big Jim. And we got some more boomers from our buddy Bill in South Jersey. I don't know what these boomers are for. But we are going to give them boomers because, Bill's from South Jersey, and we don't want to piss somebody off from South Jersey.
Well, no. Well, no, wait. South Jersey is okay. It's North Jersey right there. We don't want to.
It's Jersey.
Jersey,
I don't
okay.
know anything about it. All I know is
he sent us some desserts.
yeah. So yeah,
let's not
some
make
tasty
him mad.
cakes. We've told him, and he's a super nice guy. We got to give him a hard time, but we've watched The Sopranos, so we're pretty sure he knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows.
I'm gonna watch The Sopranos.
You haven't? Yeah, that's right.
I've
You
not
haven't
watched The Sopranos.
So, but anyway, he wanted to give a shout out to a boomer out to USMC Sooner fan on Twitter, who is an OU grad and he lives in Northern Virginia. 3 Bailey 8 on Twitter, and Rev Chris Perez 405, who is a minister, Chris Sheldon Perez. Bill from South Jersey gives all you three a big boomer. Boomer. And when we get Brooks on a little bit later, we'll do some. We'll give some boomers out that are deserving as well. So, Rob, how you been doing? Hadn't seen you.
It's been a little bit of roller coaster,
Yeah.
but I'm doing pretty good now. So
Been on and off the DL list.
yep. So just I mean I don't know. It's not a secret or anything.
No,
You don't mind if.
I don't.
So I had gastric sleeve bypass done, and started out at 437 pounds. That's why they call me Big Rob. Not the other reason, but but now I don't know what I am, but I'm probably
About
close to
4 sizes smaller than what you
I'm
were.
probably close to 100 pounds.
Yeah.
From that. So
He's looking lean and mean, and will soon have people slipping into his DMs.
yeah. So right now I get the ones that are from who knows where. They're 25 and they're like, "Hi, how are you?" And then I don't answer, and it's like, "Hello, how are you?" And I don't answer. And I'm just like, can y'all just, I know you, it's, stupid, fake, or whatever. So
Yeah, and if you look at their profile, it says, view my videos at www.
Oh, I don't ever even open it because I don't know. I don't even want to be tempted in that direction.
But now you're work free now, pretty much. There's no more activities going on at the university, right?
The athletic season is over. School is out. Campus is once again beautiful because there are no kids there.
Yeah.
So, yep, it's pretty nice.
Yeah. Now, those of y'all don't know that Rob and Caleb and I, we try to go down to Texas and catch a ball game every summer, or a couple of ball games. And this year, our Cardinals, or mine and Caleb's Cardinals, were going down, so we went a little bit earlier than what we normally do. And Rob wasn't able to go because he had to work the super regionals.
Right.
So he missed the epic Caleb night, which I'm not going to go into much and let without Caleb here to defend himself. But let's just say if you haven't been to Texas Live, you need to go because it's a really cool place. But if you were at Texas Live and you were in a Cardinals jersey, which there were a bunch of them that night, you talked to Caleb that night because Caleb went to every Cardinals fan in that place.
My gosh.
And but
he becomes quite sociable.
Quite sociable. He was dancing with some ladies, and there was not a dance floor. But
after a couple of beverages, he does become quite sociable.
Yeah, he was quite sociable. But anyway, we got separated. My phone died, and I had to walk 2.5 miles from the stadium to our Airbnb. And where I found Caleb passed out on the porch. Don't know how I know how he got home. He ran into some good Samaritans. But on the way home, or on the way to my Airbnb, I was a little upset. Really wasn't paying attention. I was walking fast because I was having to walk 2.5 miles back to the place we had rented, and came into a janky part of the sidewalk and fell and broke a rib. So do not make me laugh or cough or blink my eyes or anything else. Because have you ever broke a rib, Rob?
Nope.
Dude, I'm just telling you. The other day I was driving to work and I sneezed, and I'm pretty sure I almost passed out. It hurts so bad.
Well, I know that all the Sooner fans have sympathy for you for breaking a sidewalk in Texas.
Yes. But we had a nice trip. We didn't get to see the third game. We only stayed for Friday and Saturday. The Rangers put it on the Cardinals Friday night, and the Cardinals paid them back the next 2 days. So was pretty happy with that. So, but it was a good time. So now, if any other trips that we plan, baseball trips, you'll be able to make it. Work's not going to hold you up, right?
Right.
So
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's get into a little bit of football talk. Now, tonight we're probably going to cover a wide variety. And, of course, when we get Brooks on, it's whatever he wants to talk about because he's a fan. It's his show. But I was reading that. First off, Rob, I put a blog out on our website today. Caleb and I talked about it on the video. What are your thoughts on the NFL banning the Oklahoma drill?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. If I'm the owner, if you're looking at it from that perspective, the Oklahoma drill is obviously a drill where, I mean, a 6'5", 250-pound guy that runs a 4.4 40 could really hurt somebody.
Right.
So if I'm paying you millions of dollars, then probably I don't want you doing that.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing. It's not – the Oklahoma drill has now turned into – a rite of passage, a ceremonial start to the first day of pads.
Oh, yeah.
That and bull in the ring.
Kids love it.
Yeah, so you get out there. It was first day of pads, and even in the pros and in high school, college, they don't do it every day. They do it one day, but the NFL has banned it. They banned bull in the ring. I was watching it on Hard Knocks when Gresham tore up some defensive lineman. The guy called Gresham out, and so if somebody jumps out there and they call him out, you hop in there and go at him.
And Gresham's a big old boy.
Yeah. So, and there's all different variations. My favorite is the two guys on the backs, coach with the ball, toss the ball to one of them, you get up. There's a variation where there's a blocker and a running back and all that stuff. But it's just going to me, honestly, that it's frustrating to see so many, and I get the health and concussion concerns, but there's so many traditions in football. The kickoff changes in college, they're going to change them in the NFL, and a lot of the elite pro athletes don't even show up for OTAs. They don't even show up for training camp.
I know that I don't want to use a Jim Traberism, but it is really becoming sissified.
It is.
I mean, but obviously, you're not going to go up to Gerald McCoy and say it to him.
No,
because he'll kill you. But
yeah, because he will put you in the Oklahoma drill and drill you.
That's what I'm saying, though. But I mean, from like I said, from the an owner standpoint or a coach standpoint, then I see it. But those guys want to hit.
Yeah,
I mean they want to hit.
Yeah, but anyway, the Oklahoma drill. But here's another deal that just dumbfounds me. That came out, I think it was yesterday. I looked the stuff up on it today. Art Briles, the former head football coach at Baylor University, who built that program up and then drug it to the ground.
Listen, I don't even think they uncovered everything that was going on at Baylor, because they went from terrible to contending and
to a giant, nice new stadium.
Yeah, just a short amount of time. So I think there might have been a little bit of cheating going on down there in Texas.
Yep. But Mount Vernon, Texas, which I've been to Mount Vernon several times, hired him as their high school football coach.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the dumbest thing you've ever heard in your entire life?
I do, yeah.
If you were the superintendent of the schools, or if you were a parent of a boy that plays football, would you let him play
let me set this scenario. Isn't it a Christian or a Catholic school?
I'm not sure.
I believe
it's just their public schools.
Really?
Yeah.
If you raise your son or daughter in a certain way to be a respectable young adult, and then your school goes out and hires I'll reserve name calling, a coach like that, it just tears down any moral code that you've tried to build and instill into them. So, I'm more for the no Oklahoma drill than I am that situation.
Yeah. I read a story in the Dallas Morning News. It went through it. Mount Vernon's got 2,662 people. It's between Dallas and Texarkana. Though he was, he was in an investigation was exposed for covering up accusations of rape aimed at players. Briles didn't report the allegations to police or university leaders, allowing the alleged abuse to continue. Though he was not accused of any crime, his crime ethical choices were contemptible, putting the football program over victims and ultimately hurting everyone involved as well as Baylor itself.
In my opinion, he is just as guilty as the guys that were doing it.
Yeah. Now, according to Mount Vernon School Superintendent Jason McCullough, Art Briles, he is passionate about investing in lives of young people and helping them succeed on the field and in life.
So, what happened since Baylor? Because he wasn't interested in it then.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't interested in anything other than winning football games. He further stated that the school vetted him to the best of their abilities. When asked by a reporter, "Did you talk with any of the victims at Baylor?" the answer was no. When asked, "Did you talk with the NCAA about their investigation and results?" the answer was no. The guy should be. I mean, who in their right mind would hire, this guy?
Well, and here's the question I want to ask Terry. All right, so you're gonna go out here and you're gonna hire Art Briles. You're gonna catch heat.
Yeah.
How can you not be prepared for those questions that are surely coming?
Yeah. We got to say, why didn't you try to reach out and talk to some of the victims? Why didn't you reach out to the NCAA?
Because they know it's all true.
Yeah. Well, if we did, and their response was they talked to him and people who knew him, and I don't know. It just when you make mistakes, it's not that we can't be a forgiving society, and I mean, there's been coaches, fired for doing illegal things. Kelvin Sampson here at Oklahoma got in trouble for all the texting stuff that was going on.
He wasn't texting his junk, was he?
No, I don't think so. Yeah. But he got fired. And he's worked his way back up. He's done his time.
Yep.
Art Briles put football players in a football program above the health and safety and well-being of women attending the University.
Well, just think of those
Baylor.
girls that were affected. It changed their lives.
Yeah.
So,
and not saying that in the in some time in the future that Art Briles could not come back into coaching, but. We're 3 years out, if that long. I don't know how long ago it was. I don't remember, but it's still, the guy has no business,
should have retired.
Yeah.
Should have retired.
Do you need the money that bad, Art Briles,
he's probably still getting paid by Baylor.
Yeah, Mount Vernon, I'm sure he got paid, a buyout when he got fired. You don't need a job,
I mean, I don't have any sympathy for him. Okay.
I don't either.
But I understand that obviously coaching is in his blood, and he's probably not happy doing anything else.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's probably not making anything really to speak of. So, I mean,
but still, I mean, what would you do? Would you let your kid play on that team?
Whew, boy, it would be after. There would definitely be a lot of thought and discussion and
face-to-face meeting, parent-to-coach meeting with all the parents.
Here's the thing, the lives that he was responsible for this, and I call him responsible.
Yeah, he was
for destroying. That needs some answer, and he's never fessed up in my opinion. I don't think he has.
No, I don't.
He's never even attempted restitution to those girls. I don't know. I don't know. It'd be tough.
Yeah.
It'd be tough because if I came face to face with him, I'd be like, "Hey, dude, what's that all about?"
Yeah.
You ain't got no
Exactly.
integrity. You ain't got no morals.
Yeah.
So
But one other thing I wanted to talk about tonight was a little bit about I put out I forwarded a tweet from one of the college football things that said, what does Tua Tagovailoa need to improve on to win the Heisman? And I just retweeted it and said transfer to Oklahoma.
I love it.
But then I got to thinking about it. I kind of started, going, we kind of talked about this with Oklahoma getting into the national championship race again next year, getting into the playoffs if they lose a game or something like that. But your thoughts on, we've had back-to-back Heisman winners, and it may be difficult for Jalen. If Jalen has an outstanding year, a Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield-esque type, which he's capable of having.
Oh, absolutely. I think he is.
Not that he's as good but I'm saying that the type of numbers that those guys produced, is it going to be maybe it's not these guys are that good. Maybe it's the system.
Maybe it's the system. Well, all right.
Could he get left out because it's the system now?
Let me start with this. Right now, as it sits, it is Tua Tagovailoa's
Right.
award to lose.
Right.
So, having said that, if he has a good year like he did last year, he's going to win it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything anybody else in the country can do to pull that away from him. Now, if he goes down or if he, he really just has a bad year.
What if Hurts produces more numbers, better numbers?
Like I say, I still think it's Tua's to lose.
Yeah.
And the numbers that Jalen Hurts would have to put up to overcome that would be huge.
Yeah.
We would have to be undefeated in the playoffs, and his numbers would have to be just phenomenal.
And I bring up the system, I called it the system effect because, we remember Josh Heupel, came in second. And by the way, he didn't win the Heisman, and we won a national title that year. I'm just leaving that there. So,
wait, before you go any further, let's talk then just a moment about the system, because there have been lots of teams that they say it's a system.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, Texas Tech.
Right.
As soon as Texas Tech plays a good defense, shut down.
Right.
They're done. They're not scoring. That's not us.
Right.
I mean, we still scored on Georgia. We still scored on Alabama, although we lost both of those games.
But, the deal in 2000 with Josh Heupel, or 99-2000 season, that's what everybody said about him was it's the system. It's not that he's a great quarterback. It's the system.
Right. And
then you bring up Texas Tech. Texas Tech, since 2008, have had one fourth-place finisher and two other players, Cliff Kingsbury and B.J. Simmons, who were Heisman candidates, receiving enough votes to finish in the top 10. But again, people talked about it's the Mike Leach system. It's not. These guys, their stats are so high because they throw it all the time and da-da-da-da. And now, on the other end of that, Oklahoma doesn't throw it all over the field like that, like Leach. But I think that could have a hurt on Jalen Hurts. If those numbers are comparable, people going, well, look, man, Oklahoma, they've produced the last two with the same type of numbers. Maybe it's not the guys. Maybe it's Lincoln, and we need to rethink this.
Yeah, because the difference is in those system offenses, like the one that Leach coaches now. Mm-hmm. That quarterback, what's his name again? The one with the funky mustache, Munchie or Munchie, something like that.
Munchausen syndrome.
Yeah. Okay, so that guy put up a bunch of numbers, but you know what? They're throwing it 60 to 80 times a game. We are running the ball more than we are throwing the ball.
Right.
That needs to be noted. If they ever come at Oklahoma with that's a system offense, the system is we line up and just whip your ass.
Yeah, bang.
I mean,
excellent point.
So there's a difference.
Yeah.
So if Jalen Hurts puts up Kyler Murray's numbers from last year, he's either first or second in that Heisman race. But if Tua puts up a good year too, I think, just kind of circling back, I think still Tua's.
Well, see, here's the ideal situation, okay, is that Oklahoma go through the season undefeated, win the Big 12, number 1, 2, or 3-ish, in the playoffs. Jalen Hurts is up for Heisman. loses the Heisman, Oklahoma wins the national championship. Jalen, I'm sorry. I wish you the best. You're going to be a great quarterback for us this year, but I could care less whether you win the Heisman if we're in the playoff race.
Yeah.
History shows we can't win a national title with a Heisman-winning quarterback.
I would take the Natty 100 times out of 100 before the
another
Heisman.
Yeah. See, I think we ought to have instead. I like the Heisman Park. We should have a Natty Park, just giant national championship trophy replicas somewhere.
You know what? I think we ought to claim national titles for every year that we went undefeated, like Alabama does.
Yeah, or every year that Reader's Digest and
right,
a Boys Life magazine,
because we would be in the teens.
Yeah,
we'd be at 14 or 15.
It's not just Alabama. Notre Dame does that too.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I mean everybody lays claims to. Oh, if somebody, Oklahoma State, they, that wasn't a national. That wasn't the AP title.
Oh my gosh.
Don't
even bring up. Here's the thing: we went 4 years undefeated, and we've only got 2 natties to show for that. So
yeah, that's a good point too. We'd still be undefeated if it wasn't for Notre Dame. No. That's something. The 47-game win streak, will that ever be broken?
I don't think so.
In NCAA football,
I don't think it ever will. The closest anybody's ever got was. It escapes me now, but I
think it was USC got into the 30s in the early 2000s.
What? Remember when Ohio State had that running back that instead of going to the pros, he went to prison?
Which one?
Yeah.
Stop making me laugh.
Gosh, I can't remember his name now.
I know who you're talking. I can see his face.
Yeah. Anyway, I think they got up 27-28.
Yeah.
And I think Miami got up into 27-20. I thought that was I didn't think anybody ever got into 30s.
Yeah. I thought USC.
Maybe they did.
They were getting pretty close when Texas beat them in the national title game. They not close. They were a season and a half away.
So the reason that I say no is because the best team that we've seen in the last 10 years, Alabama.
Right.
Right? And they've only had a few seasons where they went undefeated.
Right.
And I mean, they're
hard to do.
They're head and shoulders better than everybody in the SEC for sure, and the rest of the country combined. So, for them not to be able to do it, I don't think it'll ever happen because I think once this dynasty in Alabama kind of settles down, which it's lasted a whole lot longer than I ever thought it would, then the parity in college football.
Yeah, but man, I mean, you got Clemson right behind them, and then you got Oklahoma right behind them. Yeah. I mean. I honestly think you're going to see. I think you're going to see the playoff scenario we have now get changed because of those 3 teams.
Maybe.
Okay, because Oklahoma hasn't won a game yet, but they've been to 3 out of 5. Okay, Alabama's been to 4 out of 5. Clemson, I think, has been to 5 out of 5 playoffs. The 3 staples in that is Alabama, Clemson, and Oklahoma.
Right.
The other teams are just spots. I mean,
Ohio State's trying to make a run, but they're not. Georgia, obviously is pretty good, and then when Notre Dame in like the first one, I can't remember.
No, it was their first one was this one last year.
So I agree with you. Things will change if teams like Ohio State, because the horseshoe holds 110,000.
Yeah.
Teams like Notre Dame, which holds somewhere in that same vicinity, you start leaving that fan base out. I mean, that's because it all goes down to money.
They got to quit losing 2 games a year.
You got to stop losing.
Yeah, you
Ohio State can't lose to who was it? Troy State.
Yeah, no.
Purdue smoked them.
Yeah,
wasn't it like 62-3 or something?
It was
embarrassing.
And then
that's like us losing to Oklahoma State.
Yeah,
God. Just makes you want to. You got to go shower. Or
but regardless, you can sit there and go, well, it's the conference is tougher. No, it doesn't matter. You don't lose 2 games.
No,
you cannot lose 2 games and expect.
And you can't get smoked by.
A mid-level team.
Yeah, they're not even a good mid-level team. So,
you can't get smoked like that. You can't lose 2 games in a season and expect to be in the playoffs. Period.
Right. No.
And the Big Ten has done that. And you're right. It's not like the teams were getting beat. Michigan was beating them, and Nebraska hasn't been that good, but you know what I mean. Not a name team. You're playing Purdue, and you get slaughtered.
Embarrassed.
And then Michigan gets hammered by Notre Dame last year, and then gets slaughtered by Ohio State. You can't get into the playoffs losing 2 games.
Well, I mean, okay, so if you lose to Ohio State, or if you lose to Notre Dame and you fight and it's a close game, that's a respectable loss. And I hate to talk about respectable losses, but they got embarrassed.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Sorry, that's bad luck.
So anyway, it's about time we need to get on the phone and get Brooks on here with us. All right, Sooner fans, on the phone with us from right here in Norman at the University of Oklahoma, we got Sooner fan Brooks Bell. Boomer Brooks.
Boomer guys.
Sorry, I didn't even think about it. I didn't realize until I got here. I mean, I did, but when I thought about it, you could have come to the Podcast Palace and done it in person.
The way weather's going today.
Yeah. Yeah. We're all in our, close to our safe spots, I guess. Well, Rob's a long ways from his safe spot, but I hope your safe spot isn't here, Rob.
Listen, I'm a lawn chair in the front yard kind of a guy.
So, Brooks, you're a student at the University of Oklahoma, correct?
Yes, I'm a senior social studies education major.
Okay. And you're originally from Norman?
Yes, if there are many Norman people listening, they might know my mom as Regina Bell, the music teacher, and pretty much I'm going to get about 50 text messages after that.
Where does she teach at?
She was a teacher at Cleveland and elementary here in town, but now after last year's excitement with everything, she switched over to Epic and is loving it. I would shout out to my mom, the best teacher in the world. Just throwing that out there.
Okay. But one of the things that you are a stats and recruiting guy, right? You love.
Yes, I definitely. My friend, my best friend Chad gets annoyed with me sometimes because he's a recruiting guy too, but he's kind of a go for the stars guy, and I'm more of a kind of what's actually OU doing kind of guy. And he'll be like, "Man, we're going over." Who's the guy? He was the number 1 recruit last year, Thibodeau, out of California. And he was like, "Man, we're in the hunt for him." And I'm like, "No, we're not."
Now, see, Rob and I aren't recruiting guys. I don't have enough time, or I don't know, not just enough. It's not enough time. It's really not enough interest, I guess. And I hate to say it like that, to go digging that deep. I just, I let guys like yourself and James Hill and Brent. I
don't even have time for the Twitters, much less recruiting on that stuff. So
what really got me hooked into it though was Eddie Radosevich. It was his how funny it was on Twitter, but he would still throw recruiting in there, and that kind of opened me up to unofficial 40 guys.
Yeah.
Which then opened me up to RJ Young and all them.
Right.
We love Eddie Radosevich.
Yeah.
He's hilarious.
He was having trouble. He was the main host this morning because Steely was off, and but he was he kept forgetting the trailer stuff to say. So they were giving him a hard time when they would come back on the air because he would forget to say something.
Mm-hmm. Man, I'm much more of a fan of the franchise over the sports animal.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yes.
100%.
It's not really the only show that's a competition would have to be that noon show with Teddy.
Yeah.
That's like the only show that they have competition with the franchise.
Wait, Teddy Lehman?
No, you're talking about
yeah, that's not the sports animal.
Dusty.
Yeah, Dusty Dvorak.
Oh, okay.
They used to have a show together over on the ref. I always forget which one jumped.
Yeah, Teddy's still, he's still on the ref, and I saw a tweet from him. Did you see his parents' house in Fort Gibson?
No,
dude. No, I didn't. Let me go look at that.
It's like to the roof, the water.
Oh my gosh.
I think he said his dad built it in 1988 or something like that.
So I don't know about you guys, but if I'm listening to Sports Animal or if I'm listening to sports radio, I'm listening to T-Row in the morning, and then James Hale, and then I'll listen to Teddy and sometimes 107.7 or whatever it's called. But
yeah, Sam Mays.
I don't even ever turn it over onto the Animal.
Yeah, I quit listening to the Animal 3 or 4 years ago. So
pretty much the day the franchise started.
Yeah, that was kind of, I love Sam Mays and, the Triple M Ranch. I love that show.
Man, I got a fun story of Sam Mays back in the day when he was at the Animal. It was during the 2012 Olympics. He was covering for, I forget who, but I think it was Traylor. And he was talking, the U.S. had just placed silver in the 4x100 relay to France. France took gold that year. And I was a swimmer in high school, and I was still in high school at the time. And he was ripping the U.S. for not winning in general Sam Mays fashion, because win something. And so I call in, and I'm like, well, the U.S. wasn't even favored to medal in this race. And he's like, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, the U.S. was supposed to get fourth, and we got second. And all this stuff, and he ends up like, oh, okay. And he agrees with me and keeps talking about swimming and comes around and I have to call in again. And yeah, I've talked to him in person since then. He thinks it's funny.
Yeah, he's a good guy. And when you see him in person, he's not, he's friendly. I've met him several times. Yeah, he's
biggest OU fan in the country.
Yeah. No, he won't agree with that, but he's a fan of good football, is what he is.
Well,
so
then he's a fan of Oklahoma.
Yeah. So, now Rob and I actually touched on this just a little bit before we got you on. One of the deals, if when you sign up for our podcast, we have a little deal it says, tell us a little bit about yourself. And the last thing that Brooks says is, I would give up having any player to win a national championship.
Oh, yeah.
So what player would you give up this year to win a national?
Well, this year?
Yeah.
I would drop it. I love Baker to death. I'd drop in a heartbeat to get the trophy.
Yeah.
This year, CD.
CD.
I'd drop CD to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
There's not a player that I wouldn't. I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, that may sound disrespectful, but, it's all about that trophy, right?
I've had these debates, again, I'll reference back to Chaz a lot, my best friend. We've had these debates for years, and he's much more of a name guy. He likes following people.
Yeah.
It's why he's such a big NBA fan. And it's why I'm more of a college basketball fan, because I like the team aspect and, stuff
right
over in college basketball, and he's all about the superstar.
See, that's a lot how Caleb, when Caleb is a college football fan. He's a Sooner fan, but pretty much every other sport. I mean, he's like a Cardinals fan. He's a Lakers fan. The NFL, he's not really a fan, but he's a fan of players. In the pro sports. Now he'll root for the Cardinals, and the Lakers, but any other sport, like NFL football, he could care less. He doesn't like, he doesn't like the Patriots, but who in Oklahoma does. But
I will say, Baker was the first ever player that got me to buy an orange shirt.
Yeah.
Of any kind.
Yeah.
I've never owned an orange shirt in my life. Baker went to the Browns of all teams.
Yeah. No, never will happen. I'm a Steelers fan. I hope we slaughter him and make him look like a fool twice this year. So
that's blasphemy, Terry.
I don't know. I'm a Cowboys fan. I don't like the Steelers anyway.
Yeah. Well, you're a Cowboys fan, so you've been like disappointed the last 19 years, right?
No, I'm not disappointed. I have no feelings.
Well,
I have no emotion.
It's like bathing in lukewarm water.
Yeah. It's not hot and it's not cold. It's just water.
Exactly.
Well, before we get into too much stuff, let's get to know you a little bit better, Brooks. We have the Sooner bucket of questions that Rob will pull out of the bucket. Have you heard these before?
I've heard a couple of them. I generally listen to you guys in the morning on my way to work and when I'm at the gym.
Yeah.
So a little
So
bit, but
yeah.
I'm usually a little distracted too.
Yeah, but they may or may not be about football. They may or may not be about movies. They may or may not be just random stuff. So, just answer the best you can. It's just something to open up a little bit of conversation on. Rob, it's not that big of a bucket.
Well, he's a young man.
No.
He's not going to get some of those old ones.
He might.
Remember, I'm going to be a history teacher.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Are you ready? Question number 1. Dennis Quaid stars as a Louisiana football legend who struggles with life and family after retirement.
What's the movie?
The Louisiana football star. Who is it? What's the name?
Dennis Quaid. Do you know who Dennis Quaid
I
is?
have no idea.
Okay.
Okay, well, it's Everybody's All-American. He played the Galloping Ghost. It's a great movie, by the way. It's a great football movie.
I may have to go watch that because
Yeah.
I've never seen it either.
It's got John Goodman in it, and he played for LSU. It's got about him being.
I already don't like it.
But it's about a guy who, he's everybody's All-American, then gets into the pros, and then just kind of becomes average and starts getting hurt, and it's a good movie. It's a good football movie. Go check it out.
Guys, just a heads up. That thing I warned you about before the podcast started.
Yeah.
Might happen in the next few minutes because we just got a new warning come across.
No. Yeah, so everybody's. If you're wondering what that's about, Norman is under a tornado watch, and Brooks is at the university. So the alarms may go off for them to get to their safe place. Well, they have a bunch of basement shelters down there, don't
Dude, they built state of the art
Yeah.
tornado shelters. Right? Which dorm are you in?
I'm at Headington, the Res College.
Oh.
I got a brand new one.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I've been in there several times.
Yeah.
It's nice.
So, go ahead with the next one.
All right, question number 2. Are you ready for this one? Finish Shane Falco's speech from The Replacements. Are you ready? Pain heals.
Yes.
Chicks dig scars.
Oh, God, I know this. Six Big Scars. Oh, I watched this the other day. God, it's on the tip of my tongue.
When he says it,
Oh, God.
do you know it, Rob?
Yeah, well, I read it.
You read it. When he says it, you're going to kick yourself because it's.
All right, you go. Go ahead. I'm going to kick myself.
What is it, Rob?
Glory lasts forever.
Yeah, there you go.
So I want some of our female listeners, however many there are, to tell us if that's true. Do chicks really dig scars? Because I'm okay with a little slice and dice.
Yeah. So tweet us out there, ladies who are listening tomorrow. Yes, we like scars. No, we don't like scars.
All right.
As someone who has a surgery scar on their stomach, it hasn't worked for me.
Listen, I want a scar. Like, have you ever seen what's the show where they have the big blue people? The planet. Yeah, long ways from here. What is it called?
Oh, yeah, Avatar.
Avatar.
Big blue people.
The army dude that has a scar on the side. I want that kind of scar. That was sweet.
I was like, Smurfs?
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Rob, they were little.
All right, Papa Smurf. Nice scar, buddy. How's that going with chicks?
So last bucket question.
Here we go.
All right.
Who would you rather have lunch with, Billy Sims or Adrian Peterson?
A little bit of backstory to this, but it would be Billy Sims.
Okay, you can't. You got to share the backstory there.
Yep, go ahead and lay it on us.
I was not a fan of AD.
Really?
I was
Wow.
not a fan of AD when he was at OU. I've loved him in the NFL. I did not like him at OU.
Because
I knew who his backup was. He only had one game against Baylor, Jacob Gutierrez. I knew him personally, so I was a lot younger at the time. I was in like 5th grade, 6th grade ish range.
Yeah.
And I really, really wanted Jacob to play, not realizing he was 5'6",
Yeah. He was just your friend.
Yes.
Yeah, you didn't at the time. You didn't realize that Adrian Peterson was the perfect human specimen to play running back ever put on the face of the earth at that point in time.
Besides Marcus. Oh, at that time, okay.
Yeah. So
I wanted the 5'6" gap back.
Yeah.
Ran a 4.4.
yeah. Well, Rob, which would you rather?
Billy Sims in a second.
In a second.
Nothing against AD, but
Would you eat barbecue with Billy Sims, or would you go somewhere else?
well, honestly, I don't really like his barbecue. But I mean,
It's not barbecue.
It's Boomer Q. Yeah.
I'm telling you though, he would be hilarious to have sit down and have lunch with.
Yeah. I think he would be
I'd ask him
too.
where he got a suit.
Do what?
I'd ask him where he got a suit for the Heisman.
Yeah. I think Walmart, because the next day I saw a whole bunch of them at Walmart.
Listen, it doesn't matter where he's at. If you said, "Hey Billy, give us a boomer,"
Oh, yeah.
he
Yeah.
wouldn't care.
Yeah. He would do it in a heartbeat. Now, speaking of Billy and boomers, we have a little deal that we do now that we give out boomers, which are basically, shout outs to people. So we're going to give a couple of, boomers out to people. First boomer, Rob.
Hang on.
No, you're supposed to say boomer when
sorry.
I say boomer. So goes out to who, Rob?
Well, I'm not on the right page.
Okay. Cleo the Sooner Swooner. Okay. She sent out some boomers, but I want to tell you guys, a big boomer to the Sooner Swooner, because she's a huge Alabama fan. And like Rob said earlier, do not come at her, because she can back her fandism up. Okay. With stats. But she's a Sooner fan because of Jalen Hurts. She had a whole lot of respect for Jalen. She listens to our podcast. She listens to RJ. She listens to everybody's podcast. She loves Oklahoma football and Oklahoma football fans, and we've grown to love her, so I wanted to give a big boomer out to her. And also, a boomer goes to the Oklahoma softball team again. For two things. One, they made the World Series. Mm-hmm. And two, they set a program record for most consecutive wins this season. But they also hit 108 home runs this season, which is an NCAA record, breaking the old record of 107 held by
Oklahoma.
So
was that the Lauren Chamberlain years?
Yeah.
But
Lauren hit most of those herself.
Yeah. In the top of the seventh, sophomore catcher Lindsey Elam stepped to the plate, swung, and made history. It was just her fifth of the home run of the year, but the team's 108th. So boomer goes out to what is it? 4 Natty Patty now? Is that what we're going for?
Natty's for Patty.
Yeah, Natty's for Patty.
Yeah, we're probably also going to have the player of the year in Sid Romero.
Yeah,
because she is amazing.
Yeah, and then we
and Cece is amazing.
Yeah,
we're gonna miss those two girls like you wouldn't believe.
Well, I mean, we say that, but we said that we were going to miss the two girls, the pitchers last year.
Yeah,
and
then what was it? It was Chamberlain, and I forget the pitcher's name before that.
Yeah, it was like every time.
That's right.
Patty just keeps keeps cocking that shotgun back and going, okay. But on softball, real quick, did y'all see the Texas pitcher get hit?
That was nasty.
No.
Oh my!
You didn't see that?
Oh my gosh!
What happened?
There was a player stealing second base. It was a kind of a loose ball.
It was a bunt.
There was a bunt. That's right.
It immediately popped up into the catcher's hand,
and the catcher gets it. Goes to throw to second.
Crow hopped it into her face.
And, I mean, hit her square in the face.
But if you watch it, you got to listen to it.
Yeah, because it was...
Because, oh, my gosh.
She was perfectly fine afterwards, right?
No.
Was she fine afterwards? I'm debating whether to make a joke or not.
No. They put her in the hospital. I think she had a concussion.
She had a fat lip.
She had a fat lip, but I mean, it was nasty. I mean, I couldn't imagine, because she wasn't what.
Telling me is she's now eligible to be a quarterback at the University of Texas.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, but it was, dude, I couldn't imagine getting hit with a softball, football, basketball, anything at like 5 feet, because that's how far she wasn't that far away from her.
It was nasty.
Ugh.
I mean, when you hear it, you're like, oh my God.
she did. Yeah. And some people made some jokes and got, people on Twitter jumped onto them. I mean, it's never funny. I mean, she's all right. I mean, she, I mean,
we can make fun of her now?
Yeah, we know that she's all right. That's what Brooks was saying. If she's okay, I can make fun of her, so.
I feel sorry for
her.
though.
Wearing the wrong color.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, she drilled her. It wasn't not pretty.
Yeah. And then I tried to send Rob a picture Thursday night. He wasn't able to go to Louis with us. But I was watching the Oklahoma State softball game because Oklahoma wasn't on. That's what they had on at Louis. And the first batter up for Oklahoma State was wearing a batter's helmet with a face mask and a football mouthpiece, like the Joe Washington mouthpiece, and it was orange. And I'm like, good Lord, how much protection does this girl need to step up to the plate?
There's the face mask.
Yes, it was a football face.
Maybe the thing was to keep her from biting her tongue or something. I mean,
but
she grinds her teeth real bad.
Yeah, but she had on a mount. I mean, she had on more padding.
Odd.
Yeah, it was an odd look. But the interesting thing is Oklahoma takes care of business Thursday night at 9:00. They play the late game against Alabama. Oklahoma State's playing Florida. They both take care of business. We got Bedlam Friday night.
Bedlam at the World Series.
So that will be...
Which doesn't bode well for them because we beat them, 6 times during the year?
Yeah. So
yeah.
But
let's go ahead and take that L.
Do what, Brooks?
Well, I was just saying, when the Big 12 tournament got rained out, they literally just said,
yeah.
And everybody was okay with that.
Yeah, nobody went, no. We want to play for the... They were like, yeah, we're good, thanks. That's kind of like, what was it? It was like, I don't know, 10 years ago when a women's soccer game in the Olympics, they'd played to a tie and done a couple of, and it came down to a coin flip as to who won. They flipped a coin.
Why not PKs?
They flipped a coin. It was either an Olympics or the World Cup or something like that.
I wouldn't be okay with the
with a coin flip to decide the game, but they'd played forever. Maybe, and I think they had done penalty kicks, for like 8 hours. I mean, nobody. So they just went flip a coin, But let's get into a little bit of recruiting talk because there are. I was reading today on the Football Brainiacs. Super K made a post today that there are 5 sets of eyes still out that are unaccounted for. The first set came out on March 28th. But Super K says it depends on who you ask. There are some people that believe these eyes are for the same player that were posted on April 13th. But Riley has never made the mistake of giving 2 sets of eyes for one player before. So,
it could be a commit and decommit.
Yeah.
Possibly.
So the first 2 sets were, a lot of people think were for the first, for one player. The second set, third set, everybody believes is for 2020 offensive player who will also announce this summer. Most of you guessed who this was. 4 set.
Is he a position that carries the ball?
Yes.
Okay.
4 set of unaccounted for is also an offensive player, who we believe will announce in the middle of summer. He is not a regional player. I think that's a wide receiver from California, if I remember right. But let's see here. The biggest thing is the eyes that are unaccounted for. They're all offensive players. I mean, what I know, there was an article came out about Lincoln was really happy with the status of the recruiting on the defense. Where are our defensive recruits?
Need to see some.
Well, I think the problem that Grinch is running into is that because he took that year off where he was the assistant or co-defensive coordinator up at Ohio State, he lost some visibility.
Yeah.
And he wasn't their primary recruiter. So a lot of those top defensive prospects that we could have maybe moved in on when he moved over to OU from Ohio State, he wasn't in on them to begin with. Like,
right.
He wasn't talking to them as much as, I forget who their defense coordinator was. What's his name? Established guy.
Yeah, I know.
But, he was the primary guy. But what I think the reason these defensive commitments are rolling out a little bit slower is that Riley has had 4 years to build his system, know what players he wants, and has the infrastructure and the relationships at these local and regional high schools along with the national coaches that, he just shows up, puts his Big 12 rings and, his 2 years of being at OU on the table and says, hi, come, and 2 Heisman Trophy winners, and say, hey, come be on my offense.
Yeah.
Grinch, on the other hand, looks back at the OU defense.
Yeah. We got 2 championship, national championship rings with, or excuse me, 3 with Riley because he's got such a good offense, and we just try to keep people out of the end zone.
Mm-hmm. And Grinch, what I love about Grinch is the OU defense for the past 3 to 4 years has literally been trying a new defense every year. Like we went big. We went big like 3 years ago, and that didn't work. Then we went super small, and that really didn't work. And then we tried to tried to have a positionless defense in the secondary, and that really didn't work. So now Grinch comes in, and he has a plan. He wants long, tall, lanky cornerbacks, powerful safeties, and smaller, faster off the great first step defensive linemen.
Yeah.
And, he's going to – I don't know if this is the recruiting year for him. I think he has to go out there this year and show that he can take a last-place blue blood defense and move them into the top 50 range. And I think next year is really when those defensive commitments are going to start piling up.
But, Brooks, I cannot handle another year of I'm 52 years old. Saturdays are becoming, half fun, half nightmares now for me, And my blood pressure goes up and then it goes down. It goes up and it goes down. I know Rob's the same way.
That's when you're doing math. When you're doing math with the clock to see how fast or slow it's scoring.
Yeah. And I don't know if there's a lot of Sooner fans out there. I know we're going to have to be patient, but how many people know patient Sooner fans?
I think one thing, the reason the defense was worse this year compared to last year, was that Lincoln Riley got really good last year when we had a 2-touchdown lead in the fourth quarter, just parking the bus.
Yeah.
He would go big offense, power O, run the ball with Anderson, because, around the time you started doing that was when Anderson broke out. And, we would spend the last 9 minutes of the game with the ball. The defense wasn't on the field. And we couldn't get in that position this year. So the defense was out there more, which means the enemy scored more.
Well, but, he also said, though, even, Toby Rowland asked him at this coach's show at Rudy's Barbecue one night. Me and Rob go there. And, is it frustrating to have an offense when you need to conserve clock that you can't tell them not to score? Because there was times, I'm telling you, that Lincoln was wanting to burn clock, and – yeah, and Kyler gets out there and he's 9 yards ahead of everybody. You can't tell him to stop.
No.
Or Sermon or whoever had the ball, or you did a little, slant into Hollywood just to get a first down, and he takes 2 steps.
Like
and
when we tied the game against Texas in October, we scored too fast.
Yeah.
Hey, we're still mad though at his name just slipped my mind, for taking a knee against Oklahoma State.
No, Pirine.
Yeah, you don't do that.
You don't take a knee against
No,
Oklahoma
not when
State.
you're going into the touchdown.
I love that more. I love the knee more
Yeah,
because
it's kind of in your face, but then
It's football. Don't be a sissy.
it's Oklahoma State. Yeah, that was.
no, you were so bad on this day. You were so bad on this day that I took mercy on you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's another view. I like that view.
Yeah, since you put it that I took mercy on you, that's a good that's a good one. You know.
Add the words "little brother" and I'm
Yeah.
I took mercy on you, little brother.
You know, it's kind of like a couple of years ago or several years ago when Oklahoma beat A&M, like when it's 77-0.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we're taking knees on the 50.
yeah, and but you know, we were going in to score, and Bob didn't know what to do. He admitted I didn't know what to do, and I took a knee. You know, and one of the other coaches came and said, "You can't do that. That's worse than scoring."
Okay,
You
let's
know,
just score then.
so they turn around, and he's like, I didn't know what to do. I mean, we're up, you know, and there was still plenty of time left in the game. I mean, it wasn't
yeah,
it was at the end of the game. It was just like, well, let's just take a knee 4 times and give them the ball back. And they're like, no, you can't do that.
Didn't we have like 70 points in the third quarter?
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
ridiculous.
You know,
Yeah.
and they were bringing 12-year-old girls out of the stands to run the ball against them, and so.
Speaking of universities, I'm glad that we don't have to travel to anymore. I hated watching games in College Station. I was so nervous every time.
Why?
Like just watching on TV, watching College Station.
Yeah, it's a crazy place. There was one game, I think it was in the 90s I was watching, or maybe it was the 80s, I can't remember. But they were jumping up and down, and you see it now. The upper deck jumps up and down, and they cause the stadium to start swaying.
Yeah.
Dude, I will punch somebody if they start doing that.
I'm out. I'm out on that deal. It's going to be a no from me.
Driven by LSU Stadium.
Yep.
Nope.
Speaking of steep,
No.
upper deck.
Oh yeah. It's
No, I will never. I'm terrified of heights. I don't do upper decks at all.
yeah. See, yeah, you
You're a
fit
smart
right.
guy.
You're a smart guy, Brooks. You fit in with me and Rob very well. Man.
If humans were meant to fly, I'd have wings.
Yeah. See, I
You're
even
speaking my lingity.
yeah. When me and Caleb went to catch a couple of Cardinals games down in Arlington 2 weekends ago. Bought some seats in the middle section because my brother-in-law found out he was there. And I was like, well, where you at? We'll get seats by you. So I went and bought seats there. And I got up there. I was like, yeah, I'm not sitting up here. I went down and I was like, nope. Nope.
I just can't do it, Captain.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. I mean, you should see me and Rob in the, you know, we've told this story before, but you know, Rob, we were up in the upper section of the east end zone with Teresa. Rob went up there. She had never been up in that area before. And Teresa's got a bad back, my wife does, and she doesn't get around too well, but she went walking out and walking up and down the steps looking out there. Me and Rob are standing in the breezeway, you know, like we ain't going out there.
That's far enough.
Yeah, and I kept hollering at her to come back. And she was like, why? And I was like, if you fall, we can't come and get you. You're just going to be laying there all night because we're not going to make the trip out there to drag you up because I can't do it. Ugh. Scares me.
No.
Yeah.
I
So,
believe it was do you remember the Kansas game where Jordan Evans, speaking of high school classmate Jordan Evans, ran back, I'm a big fan of his, when he intercepted that ball against Kansas and ran it back.
yeah.
Me and my buddies, I don't know why, we were in the student section. I always get there early. I was on the 10-yard line, perfect seat. And my buddy's like, towards the end of the game, during the blowout, I was like, let's go to the top deck. Let's walk up and see what it's like. Me, like an idiot, spend that 15, 20 minutes to climb up those ramps.
Yeah.
That takes some time. It's exhausting. I get up to the top, go walk through the arch, and we'll take one look. And I'm like, nope. Right back down.
You got your steps in for the day though, didn't you?
Exactly.
Yeah. But no, Jordan. Now, so you're not much younger than Caleb. because Caleb went to North. He played basketball with Jordan when he was playing basketball.
Probably. North is a big school.
Yeah, but I'll never forget because when Jordan was he stopped playing basketball his sophomore year, I think, or the year after his sophomore. He played his sophomore year, and I remember, it tells you how much I know. Caleb said, I'd ask him, I was like, well, where's Jordan at? And he goes, he quit basketball. He's going to focus on football. And I was like, well, that's a dumb move because he was skinny. He was a little bitty tiny, he was tall, but he was lanky. And I was like, what's he going to do? And Caleb was like, he's a really good football player, Dad. And I was like, yeah, but he's going to get hit and broken too. And shows you how much I know. He's still playing for the Bengals.
Gained 50 pounds of muscle, didn't he?
So,
that always helps.
Yeah, but he was a good player, and it's good to see. I love it when they're whether it's a high or north kid. I love to see when a local kid gets out there and does well.
Optimist team. I was on his Optimist team in 6th grade, and one of my friends was Brett was playing. He lived on the opposite side of town, so he was on a different Optimist team, and he went up and tried to tackle Jordan because back in the day, Jordan was our running back.
Yeah.
And he tried to go up and tackle Jordan, and Jordan went low, speared him right in the gut. My buddy said that he didn't play 7th grade football the next year because of that.
It's like, I'm done. Yep.
That's enough for me.
Then I remember against it was played at Broken Arrow, but we were playing a Washoe in the state semifinals.
Yeah.
His senior year. Stoops told him before the game that if he played well, he would talk to him after the game, implying, that the offer was coming.
Yeah.
And Jordan goes on to have the game of his life and single-handedly carries North to the state championship. I think he runs back 2 kicks, one of which was the go-ahead. Jordan is an insane athlete and comes from the nicest family on the planet.
Oh, yeah.
Knowing his family, decently well. His mom will recognize me around town every once in a while. And when I say Jordan wouldn't hurt a fly outside the football field, that's why I think it's so hilarious, that he's playing under Burfict. That before he took over the starting job, was that Burfict is the meanest guy on the planet, and Jordan is the nicest guy on the planet.
Yeah.
And how they were twin opposites.
Yeah, and you're right. He is the nicest kid, and his family are super nice as well. Mm-hmm. But speaking of former Sooners, we're going to play a little bit of Rob's favorite game.
Nice segue.
Sooner, not a Sooner. So
I'm winning, by the way.
The rules of the game is I'm going to give you a name, and you got to tell us whether they are a Sooner or not a Sooner. And you get extra credit if they're not a Sooner and you know who they are.
But we're not really keeping score.
Yeah, we're not really keeping score. So, first one, Sooner, not a Sooner. Dodge Conley, Sooner, not a Sooner.
Sooner.
Rob?
He is not a Sooner.
He is not a Sooner. Rob, do you know who Dodge Conley is?
He is a pitcher.
No.
Okay.
Have you seen the movie Leatherheads?
Yes.
Yeah. It's George Clooney's character was Dodge Conley.
In our defense, the fight song for that team
was Boomer Sooner. Yeah, it was.
They called it something else, though, didn't they?
Yeah, they called it Bula Bula, but it was Boomer Sooner. So, wonder how much I wonder how much the university got paid for that. So.
Well, I wonder who got the rights because the Pride is the one who played it, but they used Bula Bula, so do they have to pay Yale and?
Good. Ooh, man, we're getting too deep now.
Yeah, you lost me.
Okay, David Overstreet, Sooner, not a Sooner.
I mean, Overstreet. I feel like I've heard that name before, but I'm going to go with not a Sooner.
Boy.
David Overstreet,
one of the best running backs we ever had,
was a first-round pick in 1981 to who, Rob?
The Denver.
No. No, the Miami Dolphins.
That was my next guess.
The Miami.
Yeah, my dad's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to remember that name because
Yeah.
he was pretty good.
Yeah.
Next one, Andre Woolfolk, Sooner not a Sooner.
Well, he played all over the. Younger Wolfhold. I'm second guessing my football name. I know he's a football. Yes, he's a Sooner.
Yes, he was.
Arguably one of the best catches ever.
Yeah, against Nebraska.
Yep.
Yeah.
In the year 2000.
Yeah, kicks it with his foot.
Yep. It was like a hacky sack there for a minute, and then he was on the ground on his back, and he caught
But
it.
what was, he was a two-way player. He played corner too.
Uh-huh.
But what was his other great thing?
Interception at Texas in the Cotton Bowl. Goes up over the top of whatever that receiver's name. The Fake Roy, right?
Yeah.
Goes up over the top of Fake Roy Williams and snags the ball. It was just amazing.
Yeah.
For anybody that's listening, you need to Google those two
Yeah.
plays up because they're pretty awesome.
Also, another thing that he was really good at was blocking extra points and field goals. Remember, he was like 6'8". I mean, he wasn't that tall, but he was real tall and lanky.
He was quick.
And he would just stand there in the middle, take a step, and jump. I don't know how many extra points he blocked, and field goals, but he would block extra points.
That was back in the day when you could go up and propel yourself off of a lineman and go up and.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, next one, Nigel Gruff, Sooner not a Sooner.
I'm gonna go with no.
Rob?
He was not a Sooner. In fact, he played in Back to the Future.
No.
No, Gruff?
Nigel. No, that was Biff.
Oh, Biff.
Who was Nigel Gruff?
No idea.
He was the kicker for the Washington Sentinels on the replacements.
Had no clue.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Welsh.
Yeah, the Welshman. So, another one, Elvis Peacock, Sooner not a Sooner.
Sooner.
There you go.
Ooh, good one. Good one.
My dad drove that one. My dad loved Elvis Peacock.
Oh yeah, me and Rob said one time, and he was a first-round pick to the Los Angeles Rams, not the Denver Broncos, Rob.
Oh.
But he had to be the toughest kid in school.
Oh, for sure he was.
Because first off, your first name's Elvis and your last name's Peacock. I mean,
Yeah, he was tough. It was like naming him Sue. Yeah, he was tough.
it was the boy named Elvis. Let's do a couple more here. Looking through all these lists of names.
I just pulled up the year that Elvis got to OU and where he's from and all that.
1976?
Yeah. Is he actually out of Miami or is he from Miami? I don't.
I think he's from Miami. He's from Miami, Florida.
Okay. How in the world did Barry reach into Miami and steal Elvis Peacock from the U?
Because Barry is the king. If Barry wanted you, Barry got you.
That's right.
I mean,
you're right.
Yeah.
Plus, he was magic.
Bless you.
Yeah, that too.
Okay. Aubrey Beavers, Sooner not a Sooner.
Say the name again?
Aubrey Beavers.
Yeah, that name is so unique. I'm just going to say it's a Sooner.
You are correct.
Definitely a Sooner. Defensive end, 1981.
You're throwing players at me. If you were
No.
throwing 90s and
No, wait a second. Rob was completely wrong. 1994 linebackers was drafted by
Denver Broncos?
Nope, not the Denver Broncos, the Miami Dolphins.
Listen, I'm going to be right one of these times.
Yeah, one of these times you're going to get.
And you're not ever allowed to say I'm wrong. Okay.
No, I'm not. Let's see. Let's do one more. Junior Floyd, Sooner not a Sooner.
Junior Floyd. I heard that name before. I feel like I don't. I'm going to go with not a Sooner.
You are correct. Rob, do you know where Junior Floyd is from?
He's from
What?
Kentucky.
No.
No?
He played for the Urbana Little Giants. He was the...
Is that Urbana, Kentucky?
I don't know where it's at. He was...
Little Giant.
Yeah, he was wasn't Junior the big kid? Junior's always the big chubby kid, isn't he?
I've never seen that movie.
Rob has never seen
Little Giants?
Little Giants.
That's the one with Will Ferrell?
You've not experienced Icebox in the
Yeah.
Little Giant?
No.
And and Rob's a Cowboys fan, and it's kind of Cowboys themed,
It is?
Yeah, the Little Giants, they play the Cowboys, and
Uh-huh.
and then again, I also
rooted against the Little Giants during that movie. I rooted for the Cowboys. I was not going to root for a team named the Giants.
No.
I refused.
Yeah, but yeah, I it was a cute little movie, but there's no way in the world the Little Giants ever beat that team in real life.
Oh, spoiler alert!
Yeah,
Come on now. God.
Well, everybody in the world but you, Rob, has seen it.
All right then.
Have you ever seen that video? It rolls around Facebook every once in a while, Facebook or Twitter, and it's like a Comedy Central skit or something like that. I forget who does it, but it's titled "The Other Team in Those Childhood Sports Movies." And it's them in the locker room. It starts with Air Bud, and it's like, Coach, I didn't know a dog could play football. Okay, we got this. We play this team next week. They'll be fine. Coach, how could there be angels in the outfield?
I haven't seen that. I'm gonna have to look that one up.
I'll find the actually where it is, so you can find it afterwards.
Yeah, but yeah, some of the sports movies, they're even the Replacements, they end up beating a real NFL team, at the end. It's like, no, you didn't. I mean, that was proven in the 88 strike or 80 something strike when they put scab teams
Replacements
together,
in there.
replacements,
Yep.
and when the first team came back and they played a replacement team, it was just
Slacking.
yeah, it was a major beatdown. But so, Brooks, what are your predictions for the Sooners' upcoming season?
Well, it's a hard one because I look at the schedule and I take down the boxes and I'm like, there's not a game on the schedule OU should lose outside of maybe Texas, and that's because it's a rivalry. And while Texas is not back, they are better than where they were 5, 6, whatever years ago.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, you never know. Their quarterback's been concussed 100 times. You never know, but we're assuming. And I'm willing to. Just OU always drops one that we're not supposed to. There's always one.
Mm-hmm.
There was 2008. We dropped one to Texas. We weren't supposed to. 2000. Every year we drop one to Iowa State. We dropped to Houston a few years ago.
Kansas State's bit us a couple times.
Yes. I don't know where it'll be. I don't know who it'll be, and I don't know why. But there will be one game that we lose by. I go back to back Big 12 champs with a chance of the playoff, depending on where else happens.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this, and I'm going to stick to that. Oklahoma is going to have a very difficult time getting into the playoffs with one loss this year, especially unless their defense is vastly improved, in my opinion, because got to remember the committee are humans, and they can be sitting here with Oklahoma with the number one offense again in the country, putting up 50 points a game, and the Oklahoma defense, number 85. That's an improvement. And, allowing 45 points a game. I don't see them letting Oklahoma in. Now, if there's other one loss, scenarios like the last couple of years, somebody else with one loss will get in and before they'll let Oklahoma in again.
Yeah, the only problem, if we have one loss, I agree, and we probably need a year out of the playoffs, kind of as an image cleanser.
Yeah.
If any, like a palate cleanser or whatever for the rest of the college football universe. But and honestly, Jalen isn't probably the one, but Spencer Rattler definitely is because he's the truth.
Yeah.
He's the truth. Like the dude's insane. But here's the thing. I agree with your sentiment on perception with the defense, but let's go look at the Pac-12.
Yeah.
They're not going to produce a single team that's going to compete to get into the playoffs.
No.
Which means one of the conferences is going to get 2 in. Well, let's move to the Big Ten. That's not going to happen because Michigan or Ohio State's going to beat each other, and then one of those 2 teams is going to beat whoever the other side puts up. So they're only going to get 1 in, probably. And then, so that leaves the ACC and the SEC. The ACC is so top-heavy with Clemson.
Yeah, that's all they've got.
Gonna get in, but no one else. So that leaves Georgia and Bama and kind of, sort of, not really LSU down in the SEC and Florida down in the SEC to compete for who gets that second spot in that scenario.
Yeah.
Which then again, if the SEC is back to being where they have 4 good teams, 3 good teams in Bama, then maybe they cannibalize themselves.
Yeah. It just, it worries me now, unless Oklahoma is vastly improved on, defense. I'm talking like a top 50 defense. And
I think our ceiling is 50.
Yeah.
Our ceiling is 50.
And, and we're holding teams to 27, 30 points. That's a different story. But if we have statistically one of the worst defenses in college football again, 2 years running, we were 64th, 65th, whatever it was 2 years ago. That was still bad.
Well, if your first scenario is correct, Terry, nobody's beating us.
Yeah.
We're going to be all over that Big 12 like hose on Santa.
Yeah.
We're just going to run through it.
Yeah.
So.
And the thing is, there is not a universe, parallel universe out there that if Oklahoma is undefeated does not get into the national,
right.
Get into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma goes undefeated, they're in every year, period.
And I'm comfortable in saying that if OU has a top 50 defense and the offense is anywhere close to where it's been the past 3 years, I'd print the shirts. We won. It's over.
Yeah.
We got the trophy. Just print the shirts.
Yeah. Yeah. Top 50 defense is all we've needed for 2 years to win a national title. And
It is honestly, I've kind of moved on from Mike Stoops' hate outside of the ever-living meme of Fire Mike Stoops. So I've kind of moved past it, let him live his life.
Yeah.
But I will never, ever forgive him for Baker Mayfield not winning a national championship. I will never forgive him for that.
Yeah, but I'm not going to throw that all on Mike. You can throw some of that on Lincoln. Lincoln has even said he took his foot off the gas in that third quarter. And then
in what world?
Yeah.
In what world are we up by 17 going into half?
Yeah.
And we can't hold it off.
But when you know that your defense is suspect, you don't take your foot off the gas. You know what I mean? He should have known, hey, we may not be able to hold this 17-point lead. Let's just keep gunning it and let Baker be Baker.
Late in that fourth quarter, the defense is the one that stepped up, not
the
offense.
Yeah, the defense is what got us ahead in the game. And then the defense couldn't stop them. Let them drive 80 yards in 5 minutes. So, but yeah, I agree with you. I look at the schedule and look, the only team with a real chance of beating us is Texas, and that's just because it's the rivalry.
LA might get interesting when we play UCLA, but it shouldn't.
No, but Houston might be interesting because it's a new, first of the year, new regime down there. Kansas has got a new coach. That doesn't matter.
Les
Kansas
Smiles.
Kansas State, they may throw, a few little kinks in there. West Virginia may throw, just because it's new systems, new coach. We'll have enough game film to figure it out. But, you just nip.
Speaking of UCLA and recruiting, would you guys like to guess? Here's my own game for you guys. Guess how many commits UCLA has for the 2020 class, and then guess the highest star.
0.
No.
Okay.
They actually got one. They got their first commit for the 2020 class 2 months ago.
I was close.
Followed by a quarterback, followed by a linebacker, and none of them, only one of them is out of California. One of them is out of New Hampshire, of all places. And the highest is only a 3-star quarterback.
That's surprising with Chip Kelly down there.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well,
maybe.
The unofficial 40 people have said that Chip Kelly hates recruiting beyond belief. He's above it. And, he'll go to, a 5-star prospect, and he'll be like, hey, and he'll be like, and just be like, you should come play for me. And the guy's like, why? And then nothing.
Well, I mean, I think people wanted to go, to Oregon and play in that crazy offense, and all those, he had all the uniforms going for him and stuff, and I think his mystique kind of went away when he got, bitch slapped up in the pros, going, nothing he did worked.
Yeah,
I mean, with two teams, and he made millions, and maybe his mystique is gone. Kids these days have short, they got internet memory. You know what I mean? They, if you're not relevant right now, the kids, that's why, Lincoln, I think, is doing such a good job, is that he's keeping Oklahoma relevant and winning games and in social media. And, Chip Kelly was out of college football, 5 years?
Yeah, something like that.
4 or 5 years.
And really, had they not had those funky uniforms, he wouldn't have drew.
Yeah, that's why everybody went to.
Yeah.
Nike was out there throwing around free stuff, free green and yellow and all that stuff. But he's irrelevant to college football, and these kids, I don't think, care. You know what I mean? And they got to get. He's got to get something to make himself or UCLA relevant again, whether it be social media, because let's face, Lincoln Riley is a social media guru. I mean, he knows how to use it, and he uses it right.
Do you remember the quarterback at Oregon? The quarterback at Oregon that put Chip Kelly on the map. Had a few years with the Steelers, if I remember correctly.
No. I know who you're talking about. I can't
see his face, but
I can't think of his name. Dennis Dixon.
If I remember correctly.
I was thinking about the one after that, the one that almost won the Heisman.
Mariota,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dennis Dixon was his first running quarterback, and let me pull up his stats at Oregon. As a senior at Oregon, he played in 10 games, had a 67% completion percentage, 2,100 yards passing, an average 9 yards on the run, 20 touchdowns, and only 4 interceptions.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was a pretty good year.
Yeah.
Plus, they had LeGarrette Blount.
Yeah.
He was a pretty serviceable back.
Didn't he punch some players when they played?
He punched a coach, didn't he?
Yeah. Was
it a player or was it a coach?
It was a player when doggone it. The Broncos, Boise State beat them. And he the one that.
That's right.
Yeah, he punched one of the
Boise
State.
Players,
yeah, right on TV too.
Yeah.
I don't think he meant to punch him on TV. Just the TV happened to be there. He meant to punch him.
That's what happens.
LeGarrette Blount is great at taking hits and giving hits and taking hits from another substance.
Hence the name. But well, hey Brooks, man, we appreciate you joining us on the podcast, and hope you had a good time. We're going to have to shut it down for this segment or for this podcast. Rob, do you got anything else you want to drop in there?
I believe we covered it, man.
Brooks, any one other shot or anything? Shout outs, or is everything?
The principal that hired Art Briles was proud. That hired Art Briles needs to resign in disgrace.
Yeah.
And never come back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, we were talking about that earlier. You know, it's not that somebody doesn't deserve at some point another chance, you know, to redeem themselves, but he hasn't had time to redeem himself. He hasn't admitted to anything. He hasn't tried to make, like Rob said, restitution to the victims of hey,
that we know of. But
that we know of. If he would have, you would know about it.
You would know it. Yeah, you would know it.
You know, and
he can make all the second chances he wants, just not in football.
Yeah, it's not going to work though. I mean, it's a bad deal. I totally agree with you, Brooks.
Yeah, but anyway, well, there's another point we agree with Brooks on: Heights and Art Briles. So
smart kid.
so, but anyway, I hope you stay safe up there at the university. Keeping I know that they take safety.
Literally, they got state of the art tornado shelters up there.
And so,
no, I'm not worried at all.
Yeah, I think everything's kind of moved through. I hadn't heard any thunder or anything. My phone hasn't gone crazy. So
Stillwater, with all the jokes aside from earlier in the podcast, Stillwater got hit by a tornado while we were recording.
Ah.
So I don't know the extent, but thoughts and prayers have been and anyone affected.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we'll have to check that out and see what's going on. But anyway, that's the pod.
My buddy texted me while we were on.
Oh, geez, that's crazy. I know. I mean, this weather's been nuts. I'm supposed to go to Memphis this coming weekend. I may have to get a boat to get to Memphis because the Arkansas River's turning into the Arkansas Ocean between here and there. So, but anyway, guys, that's the podcast for today. We appreciate everybody listening. We'll catch you next time. Boomer Rob.
Boomer Jerry.
Boomer Brooks.
Boomer.
Thanks for listening to the Sooner Football Fans Podcast. Sooner Football Fans Podcast is hosted by Rob Nixon, Terry Long, and occasionally Caleb Long. It is produced at the beautiful Podcast Palace in Norman, Oklahoma. Follow us on Twitter at SoonerFBFans and like our Facebook page at Facebook.com/Sooner Football Fans, and visit our website at www.SoonerFootballFans.com to read our blogs and keep up with our tailgating activities. Boomer Sooner, everyone.